I'll have to be honest with you. First thing I'm going to mention right up front is it's free. I like the service when it's free because, you know, you can tie up a lot of money in different services, and from experience I found out that sometimes you can pay a lot of money and you may not be getting that much out of it.
Good afternoon and welcome to GrainTV. It's March 18th, 2014. To my left is Logan Burgess and I'm Brock Shimbino. We had a positive day across the grains in Chicago. Let's turn over the quotes to see how we ended. Corn was up 7.5 cents. Soybeans, the leader of the upside, up 26 3/4. Wheat in Chicago having a strong day as well, up 17 3/4, and Kansas City was up 19 1/4 cents. You know, Logan, we did have a strong showing for all three grains in Chicago here today. It seemed like beans was a leader to the upside, but across all three commodities, we did have some very good fundamental news.
Yeah, let's take a look here at wheat to kind of start the show off. You know, we haven't talked about wheat a lot here in the last week. It seems like a lot of action in corn and soybeans, but today in particular, I thought wheat had kind of an interesting trade. You can see here from this chart, we're now retesting the highs in the wheat market that we saw last week. In large part, that has to do with what we're seeing in Ukraine. As we talked about yesterday on the show, the risk premium for what's going on in Ukraine seemed to kind of fade from the market yesterday in Monday's action. But today it really seemed to return, and that has to do with what we're seeing in Ukraine, a little bit of a ramp up in the violence there. Purportedly, a Ukrainian soldier was killed by a Russian soldier, so basically large unrest in Ukraine is going to be supportive of U.S. prices for corn and wheat in particular. It seems like that's what we saw here in today's action. Certainly helping things out was what we saw in the export sales there with that tender to the Egyptians.
Yeah, the Egyptians did issue a tender yesterday afternoon. We kind of thought that some of the sales would be most likely going to the Black Sea region, right, to Russia, Romania, Ukraine. We did see some of the sales go there, but surprisingly enough, we did see some sales come to the U.S. as well. We saw about 55,000 metric tons of U.S. wheat being sold to the Egyptians, so that was good to see and also supportive of the wheat market. Something else we saw that was supportive of the corn market in the export market was South Korea's largest feed maker actually purchased 193,000 metric tons of corn. So a couple of nice sales there, one going to Egypt, one going to South Korea. And then as far as soybeans are concerned on the fundamental side of things, a Brazilian crop agency actually downgraded the Brazilian anticipated crop by about 2.5 million metric tons. So that really got the soybean market excited and was the leader of the upside, up about 26.5 cents.
Yeah,
today.
One thing that may be continuing to help out the soybean market is what we're seeing down in Argentina as well. As we talked about on yesterday's show, there's still a holdup at the Port of Rosario down in Argentina. So it seems like a little bit of concerns about getting new crop beans out of South America is entering this market here once again. We kind of saw it fade after the March USDA WASDE report, but as I said, traders don't seem willing to really sell this soybean market hard right now. Even coming into a USDA report on March 31st where traders expect to see a very large bean acre, it's going to be important to see how the trade kind of shakes out here as we approach March 31st. But, you know, it is kind of planting season here once again, Brock, and I know yesterday we got the winter wheat condition ratings there. Do you think that helped out anything on the wheat end as well?
Yeah, I think it did, especially for that Kansas City crop. You know, Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas all saw substantial downgrades of the good to excellent ratings. I think that definitely propped up the wheat complex in general, but especially that Kansas City market. You know, going back to soybeans here, we did get past a key technical area. We had a gap around that 1410 to 1412 area. We did get above that, and we closed with pretty good conviction, closing near the highs today. So that's going to be a key area to continue to watch. You know, it was resistance on the way up. Is it going to be support as we head a little bit lower? That'll be yet to be determined here in the next coming sessions.
Yeah, coming down the pipe here for the grain market. Tomorrow we will get the EIA ethanol numbers out, and as always on Thursday we'll be getting export sales. And tomorrow's ethanol report, I know last week we saw a pretty sizable decrease in week-over-week ethanol production. I'd expect for it to bounce back here this week. Right now the crush margin in eastern Iowa remains very favorable for ethanol producers to be blending ethanol, and seasonally we tend to see production pick up here coming into the summer months. So as I said, I'd look for the ethanol report tomorrow to be a little bit supportive there for the corn market. We'll have to wait and see though. We'll be reporting on that as it comes out on Twitter. @GrainTV is where you can find us. In general, that kind of wraps up what we saw for a day that saw a lot of fundamental information here for the grain market. Corn, soybeans, and wheat all moving a leg higher. We'll see if it can continue into tomorrow's action. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you then.